This is Charles Randall, and today I'm going to be going over the first game of Forum Werewolf that I played this year. I played on a website called Mafia and it's Forum Werewolf or Forum Mafia. The way the game works is there are 9 of us. 7 of us are uninformed members of the town, and 2 of us are the informed minority. We're the Mafia members. So each day we choose someone to vote out, and each night the Mafia chooses someone to kill. The town wins when all the members of the Mafia are eliminated. The Mafia win when they their numbers are equal to or outnumber the members of the town. So I played on the Mafia Scum website in the new player queue. So the new player queue has these 9-player games with a fixed setup. There's going to be rules from one of these 3 columns. So there will be 1 Mafia goon and then 1 Mafia member with one of these 3 rules. And then there's going to be 2 members of the town that have special abilities. So, for example, if you're the town cop, you get to investigate someone every night. If you're a mason, then you get to be in a special private chat with one of their town masons. So that way, during the day, you might know who another member of the town is, and that can help give you an advantage when trying to solve the game and figure out who the members of the Mafia are. So this is my first game since 2012. The theme of this game was beans in places. So the mod George Bailey throughout the game was posting pictures of beans in places they weren't supposed to be. So here are beans in a clock, and here are beans in card sleeves. It looks gross, but it added a little bit of flavor to the game. So the first part of the game is called RVS, or Random Voting Stage. And this is where players, we don't have any sort of information. We're in a low information stage. So we're just kind of doing stuff kind of randomly. We're randomly voting for people and seeing how each other reacts. This is so that we can kind of gauge people's reactions and see if they are behaving in a mafia-like way or a town-like way. So in the newbie queue, how it works is there are 9 players in every game. 3 of the players will be semi-experienced players, so they've played before, and 6 of the players will be new. So I'm one of the 6 new players. So Porkins here is an experienced player who's been on the site since 2008. I'm new. Mini Megabyte's new. Mick is an experienced player. He's been on the site since 2013. So we're just doing our initial random voting. So nothing here is really happening. Very exciting. So I voted Genius Gamer, and then I unvoted Genius Gamer. And I said I only want him to have 1 vote and not 2. And Porkins is like, why do you care how many votes they have on them? And I was just kind of responding. So Porkins is trying to push me to see how I respond, see if I respond in a Mafia-like way. And Italiano responds in a humorous way. So Porkins says, why do you care how many votes they have on them? And then Italiano says, why he cares about how many votes they have on them? So that's a little bit of a humorous back and forth. So now I'm posting a reads list. So the idea is that you should share your thoughts. Sometimes some people think that throughout the game you should share your thoughts on each player. Because if you're a member of the town, you have nothing to hide. But if you're a member of the Mafia and then later you get discovered to be a member of the Mafia, then people could go back and read your old posts to try and figure out who your partner is. So the idea is my idea was, if I'm posting reads, then people will know that I'm a member of the town. Shelly jumps on. So Shelly was who I voted because she hadn't posted. And the reason she hadn't posted is because she lives in Asia, and that's a totally different time zone, and she votes the other inactive player. Italiano is not happy. He says, who has reads this early, and then votes for me. So he thinks that I'm trying too hard to look like a member of the town. and that only a member of the Mafia would try this hard to look like a member of the town. So here, T-Bone votes for Mick. He says, statistically, one of us has to be Mafia. Since I am not, obviously Mick is. This math is 100% foolproof. This is a really interesting vote because T-Bone kept his vote right here on Mick for the rest of the day, which I think is very interesting. It initially looks like a random vote, but T-Bone really thought that Mick was a member of the Mafia. So here I put out a read on Genius Gamer. I say that his posts don't have a lot of content. He's making light observations, but not really saying anything or pushing anyone. This will be relevant later because I became very suspicious of Genius Gamer later on during day one. How the days work is generally days last 7 days, like 7 IRL days, and nights last 2 days. So the games last pretty long. So these pages that I've scrolled through, we've already taken up lots of hours, maybe 24 hours in terms of posting. So Mini Megabyte asks T-Bone why T-Bone thinks that Mick is a member of the Mafia. T-Bone says that it's based off of his gut. So in post 172, Mick expressed a stronger read on both Porkins and T-Bone than Mini Megabyte, but voted for Mini Megabyte anyway. So it feels to T-Bone like Mick is shying away from the tougher fights he might get into and not voting for his strongest read because it feels easier to mis-eliminate a newbie than a semi-experienced player, which is an interesting read. So I gave a reads list at this point, and I said that Shelly, Noble Noob, Mini Megabyte, and Genius Gamer were on my suspicious list. I voted for Noble Noob because he was hesitant to give opinions where he would cast suspicion on someone. So one thing is initially in the game I was expressing suspicion on Italiano, but in this reads list I said that I put Italiano on the top of my town list, and Italiano was like, what's up with that? Why did you pivot on me? And I responded that I spent time looking at every player's posts and that my opinion had changed. So at that point, it was July 21st, and the day expired on July 24th. We needed 5 votes to eliminate, and I had 2 votes, Mini Megabyte had 2 votes, and Mick had 2 votes. So we still had plenty of time to sort of gravitate around someone to eliminate. It's generally a really bad idea to not eliminate anyone, and that's what happens if no majority is reached by the deadline. That basically gives the Mafia a free kill, so that really is not ideal. So you would rather eliminate the wrong person than eliminate no one at all. Here I explained my scum read on Shelly. So I said that Shelly was sort of rehashing what other people had said and synthesizing them to create her own posts. And I called this sheeping. So I posted out where she sheeped me. I pointed out where she sheeped T-Bone. Pointed out where she sheeped me. Here, and then she sheeps T-Bone here. As a side note, it really annoys me that Italiano VD's avatar is animated. All of his this is the 3rd one I've seen from him, and he always likes to pick animated avatars. That really bothers me. I prefer when people have stationary avatars. So Italiano still thinks that I'm scum, and I say, Italiano, I think it's totally fair that you feel that way, and I'm fine with you leaving your vote on me. Feel free to ask me questions, and I'll continue to be honest and open. So here we had our first replacement requests. These are pretty common because the games last a long time and real life takes priority. So Mick requested replacement. So right now T-Bone has a vote on Mick. Mick is like, too busy with life. I want a replacement. And the rules around replacement is that you can't say why you're replacing out. And you're not supposed to discuss that. That's against the rules. We have a discussion here about meta. Meta is where you look at players' completed games, see how they play as both Town or Mafia, and take that into account for the current game. You're not allowed to use this for games that haven't completed, because there's a rule against discussing current games, but you can discuss completed games. So here I wrote that I completed a game that Italiano played in. I basically ask for opinions on meta. I say it seems like a useful tool, albeit time consuming. So, T-Bone says meta is trash. I'll qualify by saying it's a worse and worse tool the more experienced the player you're trying to analyze. Noble Noob also got replaced. So right now we're waiting for the mod to find replacements for both Mick and Noble Noob. I asked T-Bone, is there any particular reason you're keeping reads close to your chest? Do you not like to do big read lists of anyone? I want to hear more from you. T-Bone says, I'm not a big reads list type of person, and I'm a real-time reader. I find that if you're going digging into people's posts, you can convince yourself of whatever alignment you're trying to prove they are. I think most people only reveal themselves in small moments rather than every post. Like seems to be the assumption when you go to reread posts, ISO dive, meta dive, etc. He finds Mick as scum, Italiano as town. So this is interesting. So as you guys saw at the beginning of the game, I shared a reads list immediately showing what I thought of each player. And T-Bone says he doesn't like to do that. Next up, SJ Reaver replaces Noble Noob. SJ Reaver is really fun. So she's like a writer, and I really, really enjoyed reading her posts in this game. So first of all, she did a bit where she kind of misspelled all of our names. Instead of saying Italiano VD, she said Italian guy. Instead of Porkin, she said Pokey. Instead of Genius Gamer, she said Genius Jellyfish. Instead of Red Aloe, she said Redos. So I thought that was funny, and I want to share some highlights from this post. She said, Italian guy is town. He is the most towniest guy in the thread. Open, engaged, flexible, and spontaneous. It's like watching a puppy dog play in the snow. I really liked this. T-Bone makes me nervous. That was funny. She says about me that I seem highly interested in orthopraxy and optimal play, and it makes her wary. This is interesting because I definitely do think that I was very stiff starting off. This is my first game. I was trying to play perfectly, and after that, I tried to make an effort to loosen up. And she said, Shelley, apparently a plagiarist? Null read. Shelley says, am I seriously a plagiarist? Are you saying that I demonstrate no thought? And then SJ Reaver says, greetings, I don't know, and no. So Italiano VD says, I don't want to come off as rude, but she says, when he says that she said that he was town, she says, and I can appreciate that vote of confidence, but how can you be that confident? I'm a little wary of people just completely aligned in reading with no hesitation and no evidence. So he's skeptical immediately, and that sort of ties into he was skeptical of me when I switched my read on him from negative to positive. And then SJ Reaver sort of elaborates on why she thinks Italian's a member of the town. So at this point, Italiano and me are kind of buddy-buddy. I like reading Italiano's playstyle, and as soon as SJ Reaver says, Italian guy is the most towniest guy in the thread, I really, really started reading Italiano as town. Just for the rest of the game, I had that attitude. Genius Gamer votes for me. I do notice they're wagging on Red Autos, and I'm not getting a very town-like vibe from him. So he's starting the wagon on me. And at this point, I have the most votes. So now, Mick gets replaced. This guy named Word321 replaces Mick. So Word has a hat for a profile picture. He doesn't use capital letters. He doesn't have good grammar. And he is really bad at spelling. So he says, hello to y'all, but with one L. And he says, I'm your new Mick. But he spells U-R. It's really annoying and infuriating to read. Hello to y'all. So, Word, he's got a hat. He's bad at spelling. He's bad at abbreviating. And I read some other games. He just really likes doing this. So here, T-Bone and Word get into a spat. It's a little interesting. Word posts a bunch of stuff, votes T-Bone, and then Word kind of mocks him. He says, come on, don't be shy. But he doesn't spell don't with the O. Do you like the interactions between Red and the Italian? Are you storing someone for tomorrow or not? T-Bone says, okay, so now you've devolved into baiting, Please don't. This is a newbie game. I'm requesting that set from semi-experienced player to semi-experienced player, regardless of your alignment or mine. And he says that he still scum reads word 321. And as a reminder, T-Bone voted for Mick. Mick was replaced by word 321, and T-Bone's vote is still locked onto word 321. T-Bone says, I'm referring to try and bait an emotional response with taunting. I don't want to be taunted, sure. I also don't want players taunting other players. It's not productive. It's also not very nice. So for context, T-Bone is a list mod. So he is like one of the administrators of the site and administers who is in what game. And he's just playing this game for fun. He doesn't play in a lot of games. So he's also like trying to say, hey, we're introducing new players to the game. No taunting, no baiting. Basically, I'm just reaction testing. Unvote. So this... And T-Bone is like, I don't understand that post or why you're backing down from the scum read. And Word says, you can't fake that kind of reaction as scum. So the bait worked as intended, basically saying, like, I was testing you, T-Bone, and now I know you're a member of the town. And Porkin is like, I don't like this post. I wrote a long post, and Porkin said, this post I like. Porkins is very, like, blunt and to the point, which is interesting and cool. So here's where day one sort of starts to heat up. I posted at 9 p.m. I'm scum reading Genius Gamer. Can someone else look over his post so I know I'm not crazy? He has said practically nothing this whole game despite posting a large amount of times. I'm hesitant to vote for him because OMG US. That means, what that means is Genius Gamer is voting me. So if I vote him, I'd be like, OMG, you suck. So I'm hesitant to come off as that way. But I did say I was scum reading him in post 294, so that was 150 posts ago. And I haven't seen much to change my mind since then. Mini Megabyte says, I sort of started scum reading him too. And then Porkins says, makes a read list and puts Genius Gamer at the bottom. Porkins also thinks that Genius Gamer is scum and votes for him. And then Italiano says, I can do that, and votes for Genius Gamer. And Shelly says, yes, I think he's probably a good vote. I quoted Porkins' read list and said that Porkins didn't include me. Then Mini Megabyte comes back. She already said that she thought Genius Gamer was sus, but now she votes for Genius Gamer. This seems to be the vote for today, and I've stated above that I started scum reading them. And then Shelly says, a 3-person bandwagon. I can see how this is a solid vote, so I'm going to place this at E-1. That means 1 vote from elimination. Genius Gamer is my biggest sus, as stated before. Vote Genius Gamer. Porky says, wow, that was fast. Red, sorry I had you on my notes. I think you're in the same level as many. And then Italiano says, that's L1, Shelly. That means there's 1 vote from a limb. I say we still have 2 days left in day 1. That means we have 48 hours till the day ends. I think Genius Gamer is the best elimination, but it makes me nervous how fast this wagon formed. Pretty nervous. Even if Genius Gamer is not scum, he's not someone I'd want around in the end game. Porkin says wait for a claim. So the idea here is we put people 1 vote away from elimination, but we don't vote them off the island yet. We don't do the final bit until they have a chance to claim. That's so in case they're the cop or some sort of very important role, they can say, hey, I'm the cop, don't vote me. So T-Bone says, why do people think Genius Gamer is scum? Why are we suddenly doing these votes now? What started this all? Word asked Porkins who Porkins wants to eliminate today, and while Porkins was typing the reads list, both me and Minnie said that they would choose Genius, and then Italiano did as well. So we all did it at the same time. Porkins says, quote unquote, it was just in the air, I guess. And Shelly's like, just looking at his ISO, he's sus. So to recap, we've got 4 out of 5 votes on Genius Gamer. 1 more vote will make him gone. And then Porkins points out a post by Genius Gamer that they find especially scummy. So Esther Reaver's back, and she says, whoa, that wagon became a train. Here I told myself this would be a slow game. She posts a very funny GIF, and then she says that Word 321, who replaced Mick is probably the scum. The T-Bone and word interaction did not make her comfortable. Shelley was upset that SJ River called her a plagiarist. So to recap, it's July 24th, 5 a.m., and voting ends on July 26th, 2 days later, but Genius Gamer is just one vote away from being eliminated. Genius Gamer comes back. He's ready to claim. He says, "Whoa, what happened here? Everyone suddenly sees me as scum, the main reason for which being that I joined Red Autos' wagon. Oh, but not all of them say that. Shelley doesn't think my posts demonstrate thought due to a lack of contribution and passiveness. I have, in fact, produced game-advancing content. I have asked questions, answered questions, brought up several suspicious actions, and expressed scum reads. It was pretty late for me when I voted for Red Autos, and I was planning to make clear my reasons for voting, but that will also have to wait. I am trying to help you as a member of the town. In fact, I'll provide you with some information about the setup. I am a town mason, though I will not reveal the other mason's name unless asked. It doesn't matter because no townies have any activatable powers. Killing me will result in what is effectively 6 townies versus 2 goons. Now think about what you've just done by putting me at 1 vote from elimination. You have forced me to provide information to the Mafia. If you don't end up killing me, the Mafia almost certainly will. There will effectively be vanilla townies versus Mafia goons, and the rate at which you gain information will be slowed. Congratulations on falling spectacularly." And then he puts in all bold, "You caused this." Porkins says, "I don't believe you," which is funny because it's a very short and concise response to a pretty big post. I said, "Everyone should give their thoughts now that we've seen the response, and then we can decide whether to eliminate. If what Genius Gamer says is true, this is bad. If what Genius Gamer says is false, I do not want to talk about this extensively because it's bad for the town. No one give the final vote until we see what everyone says. No one vote yet." The idea here is that if Genius Gamer is lying, then anyone who's a town power role is going to know he's lying. But if a town power role comes out, if Genius Gamer is lying and he's a member of the Mafia, and a town power role says, "You're lying, I'm a town power role," then the Mafia know who to kill tonight, and that would be really bad. So my idea was like, no one counterclaim, but everyone give your thoughts on whether you think Genius Gamer is lying. Oh, and Porkins comes out and explains this perfectly. They say, in the event that Genius is Mafia, he is fishing for town power roles. Don't enable this. For example, no one should say, "You can't be a Mason, I'm the cop," or something like that. And then I said, here's a thought I just had. If he's the Mason, there's no point saving him, right? Because the Mafia will just kill him. But it's already lost because he already revealed. Is there a hole in this logic? Genius Gamer says, "Since I'm the Mason, saving me gives you a chance to eliminate Mafia. I'll certainly be dead by the next day phase. But if you get Mafia now, it'll be 1 Mafia down and 1 town instead of 2 town. Of course, I'm assuming you believe me, and it seems like you don't." I said that I was just waiting to hear what everyone else has to say. So Italiano quotes a bunch of Genius's posts and says, "What information were you looking to get?" And he's trying to figure this out. And he says, "So no, I don't believe you, and I think you are just trying to not get eliminated." T-Bone says, "I believe you." So to recap, Porkins doesn't believe Genius Gamer. Italiano VD does not believe Genius Gamer. T-Bone does believe Genius Gamer. So Italiano VD says, "It's not worth a lot if you don't tell us why you believe him," to T-Bone. And T-Bone says, "Going fishing now?" So the idea is Italiano's trying to bait, a hypothetical scum Italiano's trying to bait T-Bone into admitting that T-Bone's a town power role. And I said, "Stop, don't do this." But T-Bone says, "I believe him because Mason is the worst fake claim for a Mafia, because at this point there's no reason not to limb him unless his Mason partner claims." So T-Bone gives some pretty sound logic as to why he thinks Genius Gamer's claim to be a Mason is real. I said, if I were Genius Gamer, I would not have claimed Mason except to make us feel bad. He forces someone to counterclaim, or for the other Mason to claim, and by outing himself, yeah, wait a minute, I don't think that helped the town. I think that's been the theme of Genius Gamer's posting, unfortunately, that it's been unhelpful. And I say his post was just meant to guilt trip and appeal to emotion to make us feel bad for making him flip. That's how it made me feel. If I were him, I would have given a final reads list, my final thoughts, etc. to try and help as much as possible before being eliminated. maybe show something that he'd crumped, or explained using his past posts why he's a townie, I don't think I would have taken the approach that Genius Gamer took. T-Bone says, right, it does not help town. So Genius Gamer gives some thoughts. He only evaluated 3 slots. T-Bone's like, why haven't you been evaluating all day? What have you been doing? And then SJ River says, let me help as we're getting down to the wire. I'm Town Mason 2, Genius is Townie. So basically she says that me and Genius Gamer are the Masons. So this is pretty consequential because now they're basically confirmed town. SJ Reaver and Genius Gamer are confirmed town. That means that the Mafia are going to spend the next 2 nights killing SJ Reaver and Genius Gamer. And given how they've been posting, SJ Reaver is basically guaranteed to be the first night's kill, and then Genius Gamer will be the next night's kill, because there's no way that we'll vote either of them out, because we know that they're town. Also, this means we don't have any active power roles. We don't have a cop, we don't have a jailkeeper, so Mafia are probably cheering right now. They're so happy to not have to worry about Masons. So they confirm each other as Masons. Porkins is still throwing a little bit of doubt, but it's really hard to fake claim Masons, so it's looking pretty good. T-Bone says that that during day 1 we should narrow down our limp pool to Minnie, Shelly, Word, and me. He says they cannot be scum fake claiming Masons. It's not possible. If you have fake claiming Masons in this set, up as an auto loss, and that's true. SJ Reaver thinks that Word and Shelly are the people to eliminate today. And basically we've moved, the Genius Gamer wagon is over. Genius Gamer was at 4 votes. Now he's not going to get eliminated. It's time to move on to someone else. Eliminate someone else. So SJ Reaver says, we have 5 active townies on right now. We could easily get someone to E1 easily right now. I said, who do you suggest? And T-Bone says, I suggest the person we are both voting for, which is Word 321. So then I give a reads list, and I put Word in my null pool, and I put Shelly and Minnie in my scum pool. Genius Gamer gives us a few more reads. I don't really care about his reads anymore. I know he's town. I'm not really even reading this at this point. I'm just skimming. Italiano starts the wagon on Shelly. I seconded that. I started voting for Shelly too. Genius Gamer jumps on Shelly. That's E2. Shelly is 2 votes away from being eliminated. Porkins jumps on Shelly. That's E1. Shelly is 1 vote away from being eliminated. And then Porkins unvotes. And then Word puts Shelly at E1. Shelly comes back, and she is not caught up on the thread. Shelly says, I'm Vanilla Town. I'm just a town on the verge of a miselimination. Why is this game so unforgiving to newbies? I don't see why I'm blocked scum by everyone. SJ Reaver and Genius Gamer are a town. Italiano is town red by Locktown. Also, I know that fake claim is impossible. Sorry, I just realized that SJ Reaver was the second Mason. I think Word is so much scummier here. Porkins, I could see them as scum, but not as much. And then Shelly votes for Word. I laid out some sus on Porkins. I went back and read Word's games. I said that Word likes to play with meta. He likes to throw around previous games in points he's making. But the fact that he's aware of meta makes him harder to read based on meta. I scum read him based on meta, and I said, I am not a fan of his spelling/grammar, lol. That's true. I'm not a fan of Word's spelling or grammar. I said I'd be happy to vote for Shelly or Word today. And SJ Weaver gives intent to hammer on Shelly C. She says, I'll give it another hour or so in case anyone wants to give parting thoughts. So at this point, the writing is on the wall for Shelly C. Shelly has 1 more vote before she gets eliminated. SJ Weaver says, if y'all don't have anything else to say, I'm going to vote for Shelly in 1 hour. Shelly posts desperately, trying to convince people not to vote for her. T-Bone says, tell me why Word 321 doesn't crack your suspect list red. T-Bone wants me to vote for Word. I said, he does crack my suspects list. I was just responding to Shelly's post specifically. Sorry. I'm having newbie decision paralysis. It's emotionally tough for me to make decisions that have in-game consequences. I just logged back into vote Word 321. Vote Word 321. So now Shelly is no longer at E-1 because I moved my vote. That puts Shelly at E2 and Word at E1. I'm sorry for swinging back and forth. I've been thinking about this morning. I was tunneling Shelly. I read the Word game, and after sitting on it, I'm voting for Word. In real life, I like to make very conservative decisions, i.e. not gambling, because I don't like losing when I could have avoided the loss by not playing at all. I feel the same way about miselimination. Italiano says intend to hammer Word 321. So now the writing is on the wall for Word 321. So now it's fine. It's time. Italiano says, sorry I was out. Before I hammer, I'm reevaluating everything. As of right now, Genius, Estriva, myself, and Minnie are who I'm begging on being town. Almost 100%. I don't know about everyone else, but especially if Word flips town. Anyways, vote Word 321. So that's it. Day 1, we chose to eliminate Word 321. Porkins is upset. Porkins says we had 22 hours left in the day and Word hadn't responded. Basically, we could have waited for a claim from Word. Well, I don't know what that would have done because we already have confirmed Masons. Why bother to declare intent when the person hasn't had a chance to speak? If you aren't going to give them a chance to speak. Porkins says, you would rather the day just be over than give a possibly town player the chance to defend themselves? Quite a bit has happened since they last posted. Why wouldn't you want to hear their thoughts on recent events? And Porkins is right. On paper, we want to hear more from Word before eliminating him. George Bailey, the mod, posts that Word has 5 votes.
Word 123 has been eliminated. Was he a member of the town? Was he innocent? Was he guilty, a member of the Mafia? Find out in part 2.